valedictorian of the class of 2013. The Avoca Board of Education would like to present to Darien Olson, the valedictorian of the class of 2013, a desktop clock in recognition of her pursuit of excellence in academics. This student also received a $50 gift card from J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a medallion from the Greater Southern Tier Superintendents Association. It is now my pleasure to present the class of 2013 valedictorian, Darien Olson.
Dear class of 2013, I honestly thought if I didn't write this speech, our graduation day would never have to come. I mean, they couldn't do it without a valedictory speech, right? Of course I was wrong, so I began to research just what it is I'm supposed to say to you and our school as we end this chapter in our lives to start new adventures. I'm here tonight to motivate you for the future that lies ahead and to encourage you to celebrate today because it is about us successfully making it through 13 years of school. I personally did not begin school at Avoca until 4th grade, and I remember the first day like it was yesterday. I walked into the little gym where it said 4th grade on the wall, and I remember everyone looking at me and then to each other thinking, who's that new girl? Luckily, two girls who I hadn't met yet, Lexi and Ashley Rogers, saved me from being a total outcast and quickly became my first friends. After that, I remember thinking maybe moving wasn't such a bad thing after all. As our class grew up together, our school has given us the opportunity to make memories we can choose to keep forever or forget as we walk out of this auditorium tonight. I know there are a few things I will never forget. In 5th grade, our class went on a field trip to Stony Brook. Most of what I remember comes from pictures, except when our 5th grade math teacher, Mr. Ripple, sat toward the back of the bus with us singing Blink-182. Also, while we were in 5th or 6th grade, our teachers began to organize incentive parties. For some, we could go outside and sled in the winter. During others, we would watch movies together, and sometimes we even got to go to Keys Park. One I will always remember, though, was one where we got to bring in food to share with the class. There were two 6th grade classes, Mr. Smith's and Mrs. Mitchell's. Austin Manchaki was in Mrs. Mitchell's, and he brought in bacon to share with the class, and everyone bragged. I was in Mr. Smith's class, and we were the unlucky group that missed out, because by the time we got together, the bacon was gone. Why we were so excited about bacon, I'll never remember, but everyone loved it nonetheless. From there, we made it through the awkward, smelly middle school years, full of modified sports, spirit weeks, and our first pep rallies, to high school, where we've all experienced many different things, from prom, varsity sports, harder classes, and school clubs. One thing we all recently made it through together was our plane ride to Disney World. For many of my classmates, it was their first plane ride. This surprised me, and as I walked onto the plane, I remember looking around at how nervous some of us were. I had the pleasure of sitting next to Tisha, who was one of the many who had not been on a plane before. As the plane began its ascent, Tisha gripped the armrest so tightly, bracing herself for what she believed could be a swift crash. To her surprise, we made it successfully into the air, but after a while, the plane began to turn. As the plane tilted to the side so we could stay on course, Tisha grips the armrest again, turns to me and says in a worried voice, "Why are we tipping?" Of course I laughed and told her we were only turning and not to worry. The best part of the ride came during the descent. As we were approaching the airstrip, the wheels were being lowered from the bottom of the plane. This makes a very loud, unfamiliar noise for someone who has not experienced it before. As this was happening, Tisha turned to me and said, that definitely didn't sound so good." As she braced herself again, I replied, "Tish, it's just the wheels coming down so we can land." She laughed, and soon after, our plane landed safely at the Orlando International Airport. At this point, Tisha and many other classmates had then accomplished their first plane rides. After accomplishing that plane ride, we went on to conquer 4 Disney parks in 2.5 days. Not only have we accomplished that, but individually we've all had extreme accomplishments in high school. Some girls in our class have 4 consecutive cheerleading sectional titles. Other athletes have come to have home sectional games, such as the varsity boys soccer team, the varsity girls soccer team, and our varsity girls softball team. John Stanford has won tennis counties, placed 3rd in sectionals, and made it to state qualifiers the last 2 years in a row. Members of our girls' tennis team, Lexi, Jessica, and Logan, have also made it far in sectional tennis competitions. Sarah has become a track star, as well as Sam and some others. Our class doesn't only have athletes, though, we have artists too. The seniors who are in art are the reason I make sure I go to the art fair. Ashley, Eberly, Markayla, Sarah, and Danielle do beautiful jobs every year, and this year they even won Scholastic Awards for their art. Some students excel in music-related activities. Many of us have made it to all-county chorus a few years in a row, earning A grades on our solos. Others played big roles in musicals. Lexi was Willy Wonka this year, and Sam was the King in Cinderella 2 years ago, where Allie also starred as an evil stepsister. Those who aren't involved in music are in clubs. Cheyenne was our student council president this year, and I've never seen anyone put more effort into that position. She led us well. Some have become academically successful too. Roger, Emily Slayton, Ashley Rogers, Zach Dixon, and Robert Wood are members of the National Vocational Honor Society. John, Liam, Lexi, Jessica, Jen, Sarah, Allie, and I are members of Avoca's National Honor Society. Other students have managed to balance high school and part-time jobs. Some work at the market in town, some babysit, and others do manual labor on farms. Dylan is a volunteer firefighter for Avoca. Logan is a manager at Rico's Pizza, and Kelsey has worked at Tops for almost 2 years now. Ashley Rogers is also swiftly on her way to becoming a nurse. As a class, we've all already accomplished a lot in becoming a part of our school and local community. In the future, we'll continue to pursue our diverse interests. Some are going on to four-year colleges, some to 2-year, and some to trade schools. These students will have majors varying from criminal justice, biology, politics, human services, business management, auto mechanics, computer sciences, and even geology. Others will go into the workforce. Some will even join the armed forces in branches such as the Marines, Air Force, and National Guard. All of these prior accomplishments and future plans make each of us unique, but the thing that ties us all together is this school. We have numerous people here to thank for helping us become who we are today. To the cafeteria staff, thank you for feeding us healthy meals every day, even on the days we didn't seem all that grateful for the food you were feeding us. To the janitorial staff, thank you for keeping our school as clean as possible, with all the work boots that track mud and various other brown substances around. We know it's not easy, and you are appreciated. To the transportation staff, thank you for not only taking us to and from school, but also to sporting events and field trips. Most of us can drive now, and we realize how difficult it can be to minimize distractions while we drive. Although we may not have been very helpful in that department, we appreciate you keeping us safe on the roads. To administration and the Board of Education, thank you for doing all the things that need to be done to keep our school functioning, from forming budgets, to attending conferences, to overseeing us crazy kids on a daily basis. To office staff, thank you for doing tasks we don't normally recognize, from keeping track of excusal notes that may or may not be authentic, to typing up newsletters and always being there to de-stress students by putting more on your own plate. To the guidance office, Mrs. Burns and Mrs. Stowe, thank you for all of the emotional support, the venting sessions, the advice, and letters of recommendation. To coaches, thank you for pushing us when we thought we couldn't be pushed anymore, for helping us stay fit, and for being role models and making high school sports a part of the day we could look forward to. Most of all, to our teachers. Thank you for imparting your vast knowledge of various subjects on us, for supporting us, for being mentors through the years, and for getting us to this stage today. We really could not have done it without you. Next, to family. Thank you to parents, guardians, siblings, cousins, and grandparents for putting up with us and our crazy schedules, and for believing in us. Without your love and support, we couldn't have accomplished much of anything. Lastly, I think we'd all like to thank our best friends that we've made here, who have helped make high school memorable and worth showing up to on a daily basis. To say the friendships made here haven't made a difference in our lives would be a lie, and I can't thank my own friends enough for giving me the craziest past 4 years of my life. These are all the people who have supported us over the years. They believed in us the same way I believe in our future. A wise woman once told me, "You can do whatever you put your mind to." These words, as simple as they may seem, have always held true. If you believe you can do something, you can. And if you believe you can't, you're right too. I have faith that we can all be successful in what we set out to do. And if we fail, I believe we'll be clever enough to learn from our mistakes or set a new goal and try again. Although it's unlikely we'll all change the world, it's completely true that we can positively impact the world around us, whether it be the people, the community, the school, or the workplace. We all have the power to influence others' lives for the better, the same way we have for each other throughout high school. I encourage you to go out of this auditorium tonight and follow your dreams. Measure your success not in the money you make or the things you own, but your personal happiness. Don't be afraid to learn something new. Challenge yourself and make the most of every moment. Most of all, be yourself, because I've learned so much from all of you, and the world deserves to know it too. I'll leave you with a quote from a famous author, F. Scott Fitzgerald. For what it's worth, it's never too late or too early to be whoever you want to be. There's no time limit. Stop whenever you want. You can change or stay the same. There are no rules to this thing. We can make the best or the worst of it, and I hope you make the best of it. I hope you see things that startle you. I hope you feel things you've never felt before. I hope you meet people with a different point of view. I hope you live a life you're proud of, and if you find that you're not, I hope you have the strength to start all over again. Congratulations, class of 2013. We made it.
Of 2013. Darien Alyssa Olson, Advanced Regents Diploma in Math and Science with honors.